This is Robert T. Scott bringing you Eye on Corruption. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? And my topic today is, should the legal system profit from divorce? I'm not going to start out and just quote scriptures to you. I've read the Bible, and I'm going to paraphrase scripture. He that hates the poor, he that oppresses the poor hates his maker. I've had the opportunity to debate with an attorney, and I want to clarify something. I don't think you should name out an individual attorney for two reasons. One, it might be illegal, one of your defamation of character laws. Two, you notice Jesus never condemned a Pharisee on an individual basis, but as a whole or a group of Pharisees, he did. So read chapter 23, Matthew chapter 23, if you want to know what I'm talking about. So when Jesus told the Pharisees that you sit in Moses' seat, he meant they basically controlled the church in his day. It's my contention that the laws are basically made for lawyers today. And since the church and state are not totally separate, you lawyers, judges, and politicians control both the church and the state. The preachers of today are basically the preachers of today are basically legal system puppets, because I never hear preachers of today preach on unjust law. Why is it today when people get a divorce, especially poor people, and your savings are consumed, why doesn't the church ever say anything about it? Why does the church stand up for poor people and say, we have a problem with that? You know, when you first go to church and you meet a pretty girl or lady, when you meet that handsome man, and you hear your well-dressed preacher man talk about the sanctity of marriage and how whatever God has joined together, and Jesus even said, let not man divide, then you end up in divorce. What's the church to do for them? Hey, preacher man, whose side are you on? Are the churches working for the lawyers? We bring them in and coerce them to get married, knowing that at least half of them will end up in divorce. Divorce is big business for the legal system. Are you preachers getting your cut or something? Therefore, preachers are also included with the lawyers, judges, and politicians because of your inaction. Maybe if you weren't sitting around preaching on a rapture and do your job, maybe you could relieve some suffering. So yes, I include the preacher man, as a new Pharisee of today. Now you lawyers don't have to feel like I'm only judging you. Jesus made reference of how the Pharisees sounded the trumpet when they give. Okay. Now when I debated with an attorney, he talked about all the pro bono work he had done. I said, so, if it wasn't for your unjust law designed to milk and fleece the public, you wouldn't need pro bono. So pro bono work is basically sounding a trumpet when you give, when it was a law that robbed the poor in the first place. Now I'm going to mention something I will be talking about in most every Eye on Corruption show. The image. Yes, what is the image? I will quote a scripture from Revelation. The whole world wondered after the beast and his what? Image. The image is alive and well, folks. You have to give examples of the image in order to see the image. It's very abstract, but it's not impossible to see. Why doesn't the church teach on the image? Because again, it's my contention that most of the church world not only worship the image, but both the church and the state are run by the image. The image is an imitation of God or an illusion of righteousness. And there are more definitions, I'm sure, but those are two right off the top of my head. As it is written, who has a form of godliness and denies the power? Your Pharisee, your lawyer, and sometimes your preacher man. You notice in Hollywood how they make all these law and order shows and similar shows? Hollywood is behind teaching an illusion of righteousness, the image. Since Christ became sin, I guess Satan became righteous. Satan became righteous through the law, the illusion of righteousness, the image. If Christ rules the church, and the church and state are separate, who then rules the state? What's the opposite of the real Jesus? Your man, your Antichrist. And I believe he's here now, and I'm saying, come on out and play. Come make war with us. Because we're here, And you know who we're talking about, Mr. Signing off with Robert T. Scott, Eye on Corruption.